different types of receptor. So first we'll start with the cholinergic receptors. Okay, and what are the ligands present? Cholinergic receptors are those receptors which are activated by the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. As the name itself indicates, acetylcholine, it is a combination of acetyl molecule clubbed with choline. Okay, so that's why those receptors which are activated by acetylcholine are called cholinergic, because of its belong to the choline esters. Okay, so the acetylcholine is a major neurotransmitter released at all the autonomic ganglia as well as the postganglia of only the parasympathetic nervous system. When we see the nervous system, we have two major classes of nervous system. Yeah. Yeah. We have two types of nervous system. One is central nervous system, consists of brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system. When we peripheral nervous system, again we have two types. One is called somatic nervous system, another is called autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system specializes connection of nerves to skeletal muscle. So that's why it is called voluntary system, because it is concerned with control of any function of the skeletal muscle under our will. So as and when the person wants, he can control the function. That is the somatic nervous system. The major nerves in this is also again cholinergic. The nerve from the brain, from the central nervous system, connects the skeletal muscle. Okay, so those are called somatic nervous system. At the end of the nerve endings which connect the muscle, skeletal muscle, or at that synapse, acetylcholine is released. The junction between the this nerve ending and the muscle is called neuromuscular junction or neuroeffector junction. Okay, so the receptors present on this skeletal muscle are nicotinic in nature. That means the somatic nervous system, the neurotransmitter is acetylcholine, and there is no in between ganglia. Directly the nerve coming from the central nervous system, it is going to the skeletal muscle and connecting it. So suppose if you want to contract the muscle, so at our will, acetylcholine is released at the skeletal muscle and the muscle contracts. Okay, and we're coming to autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, again we have two divisions. Yeah, one is sympathetic nervous system, another is parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is also called as adrenergic nervous system. It is called as fight or flight response nervous system. That means the major function, all the works by this nervous system is either for fight or flight, either for survival to face the challenge or to run away from the challenge. Okay, whereas parasympathetic nervous system, it is called as feed. Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Feed or breed. In rhyming words, they are called feed or breed. It means feed means something related with the digestion.
Yes.
Breed, all the reproductive organs, everything, important things is also. So fight, flight, breed, feed. Okay? And then this acetylcholine is a major neurotransmitter both in sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Okay, only at the postganglionic nerve endings in sympathetic nervous system it is a noradrenergic. Otherwise, everywhere, that's why I mentioned in all the autonomic ganglia and all the postganglionic nerves, it is acetylcholine. Only in the postganglionic nerves of sympathetic nervous system, it is noradrenaline. Again, in sympathetic nervous system, again two projections goes. One comes from the spinal cord, and in between you have a ganglia, and then second nerve starts. Another one nerve starts from the spinal cord, goes and connects to adrenal medulla. Here adrenal medulla is a ganglia. What is the difference? When adrenal medulla, the second nerve does not come. Okay, and the neurotransmitter which comes in second nerve is not noradrenaline but adrenaline. Okay, that is the only difference. One more difference is when this adrenaline is released, okay, it does not go to directly the organ. For example, you have sympathetic nervous system, the nerves come from the spinal cord, okay, connects to ganglia. And the second nerve comes from the ganglia, it connects heart. it connects liver, it connects all the organs, and the neurotransmitter is released, noradrenaline, and which directly binds on the organ where it is connecting, like heart, liver. But whereas in this system, the sympathetic nerve which is going to adrenal medulla does not connect any organ.
How?
Adrenaline is released, but it does not go to any specific organ. That adrenaline goes to blood. That is the second difference. You should keep it in mind. Because we most of the time, we also say both are same. Okay? But this is a minute difference. You should keep it in mind. One is noradrenaline, okay. Another is adrenaline, okay. Chemically different. One is noradrenaline, another is just adrenaline. Nor means
Without
methyl group. Okay? That virtue gives them different properties on alpha beta. We will see it in detail in another class. Okay? The second difference is instead of directly binding to target organs, it is going to the blood and then circulating throughout the body wherever it has chance. Now coming to the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system, the receptors which are in the parasympathetic nervous system or the receptors on which acetylcholine can bind to activate are called cholinergic nervous system or cholinergic receptors or cholinomimetic receptors. Okay? So they will respond to acetylcholine, of course, this is naturally they will respond to acetylcholine and all those drugs which are similar in structure or function to acetylcholine. Okay? During the initial discovery of these receptors in the 15th or 19th century, so they were first studied in the animal tissues in vitro, like you do it in pharmacology experiments. So many scientists, I think Dale or some, they performed various experiments. They used at that time the two agonists. One is called muscarine, another is nicotine. Whichever the receptor responded, okay, to either nicotinic or muscarine, they were named as nicotinic receptors. If it is responding to muscarine, muscarinic receptors. That's how when we were studying just two receptors, muscarinic receptors and nicotinic receptors. There were no subdivisions. Now we have many types of subclasses. Okay, so we have two major classes of the receptors on which acetylcholine binds. Okay, so muscarinic and nicotinic. Now you see the subclasses of these receptors. Muscarinic have two subclasses, M1 and M2, M3. Okay, and nicotinic has NN and subscript NM. Okay. So coming to the location, muscarinic 1 receptor is most probably found in nerve endings of many parasympathetic nervous systems. Okay, the mechanism, they are G protein coupled receptor and the G protein is the GQ. Whenever we say G protein is GQ, it is connected to phospholipase C. When the phospholipase C is activated, secondary messengers generated are IP3 and DAG. Then IP is related with calcium increase and DAG is the activation of protein kinase. Those mechanisms are common. Coming to the M2, it's more specific in heart and it has very prominent action. Okay, and it is also been found in some nerve endings. Okay, so its mechanism is G protein is GI. So GI, yeah. So it is linked with adenyl cyclase. We know when, yeah.
Convert ATP to cyclic AMP.
Yes, very good. So when it is activated, it will lead to ATP. But when GI is there, it decreases adenyl cyclase. Thereby, the amount of CAM which is generated reduces. Okay, and also it activates potassium channel. So when potassium channel is activated, there is an outward movement of potassium from the cell to outside of the cell. So thereby, inside of the cell becomes more hyperpolarized.
Calcium entering.
Yeah, negative. So thereby, these two effects contribute to inhibition of cell function. Suppose if it is, pardon?
It leads to tachycardia or bradycardia.
Yeah.
Bradycardia.
Bradycardia, because it is an overall inhibition. If there is a tachycardia, when you inject acetylcholine, it will reduce the heart rate. Okay. So in other words, we can say if you are further increase the dose, may lead to bradycardia. The important thing is it can inhibit tachycardia. Whether that will lead to bradycardia or not
Normal state.
depends on the dose. Okay, then M3. M3 it is present in most of the cells, especially the most secretory cells. Those cells, especially exocrine glands, which are related with secretions, salivary glands, gastric juice, pancreatic juice, many endocrine glands, exocrine glands, they are having M3 receptors apart from many smooth muscles. The overall function is, again, activation of this leads to increase in the functions of these cells. Okay, so if it is a secretory cells, it will lead to increase in the secretion. Okay, so this is so powerful. You know, there is one of this nerve. So those nerves which release acetylcholine is called cholinergic nerve. Okay, there are many cholinergic nerves, cranial nerves, especially those nerves come from the brain. They are cholinergic. One of them is vagus nerve. When vagus nerves come from the brain, it is very deep rooted. Okay, it will somehow connect various secretory glands. One of them is saliva. This vagus is so powerful. When we ourselves, we did not read in the book, we ourselves, when we were new to the master program, we were dissecting rat. Okay, there is one artery, a vein called jugular vein. For some experiment, like measurement of blood pressure, you need to isolate the jugular vein, okay, to insert the cannula. So we don't know where it is exactly, just we were dissecting the rat. Suddenly, while dissecting, a lot of blood comes, okay. There was a white part, something was visible to me. So I simply with forceps, you know forceps?
Yes, like
I was pressing the white portion. I don't know what is that white. Okay. As soon as I was pressing it, the rat, actually this dissected rat, it was opening its mouth and saliva was coming. Surprised, you know, because even if you touch the cholinergic nerve, it gets activated. That is the beauty of the nerves. That's why I was surprised how it is possible. Maybe nature, still we don't know. What we do, we use various drugs. If I want to stimulate vagus nerve, I use cholinergic drugs, like we use acetylcholine. But
methylcholine.
yeah, any drugs which is similar to acetylcholine you can use. But even a touch can stimulate those receptors. That's why there is many alternative therapies, means like Chinese, Indian, some old system. Okay, they depend on what is called as acupressure. Acupressure.
Needle.
Yes, that is acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
Okay, acu means needle.
Needle.
In old terminology, Chinese
Yes.
terminology. So they will directly go, like I told you, I was just touching the vagus nerve. Due to various techniques, they stimulate these nerves. Suppose if person is suffering from paralytic or stroke, so in stroke, the nervous system of that nerves of that particular area, they are not functioning. So these needles, like you said, acupuncture or acupressure, it is claimed. We don't know. We have no proof. So these needles and pressure, they activate those nerves. So that's what I was thinking. Like when I touch vagus nerve, it is stimulated. So maybe some techniques they are stimulating the nerves. Okay. So especially the secretory function is very powerful by vagus nerve. That's why if any drug is anticholinergic, you will see immediate effect. For example, if you are giving any patient antibiotics, most of the antibiotics they have anticholinergic effect. They may be treating infection, but they have adverse effect is anticholinergic. So immediately 1 or 2 days, patient start dryness of mouth. Because it is very powerful. We need secretions of various glands in our body. Say immediate visible effect will be dryness of mouth. Okay. Again, its mechanism is same, GQ coupled. Then N here refers to nerves. Okay, that's why they mentioned as NN. Nicotinic nerves usually found in the ganglia. Okay, so it is a ligand-gated ion channel. Okay, it is a ligand-gated ion channel. What is that ligand-gated? You know it. Okay, so again, the end result is depolarization. Where? In the nicotinic. There may be some other ligand-gated ion channel. Okay, like GABA, where you don't see the depolarization, you will see hyperpolarization, because the ion there is chloride. ion here is a sodium, positive ion. Okay, so end result is activation of this. Suppose you have acetylcholine in the presynaptic nerve, it is released and bind on the ganglia. So ganglia is NN. When this is stimulated, acetylcholine binds on these nicotinic receptors, it activated and it will send the message to the second nerve, that is a postganglionic nerve. When this happens, again the acetylcholine is released in the nerve ending.
Which one is long, post or pre? Long nerve. Post?
No, many times it is different. In most of the time, preganglionic is long,
Long.
because once a nerve come from the spinal cord, the ganglia may be present just near the organ or in between the organ. But most of the time they are not shorter. Usually they are longer than postganglionic nerve. That means first nerve is longer than the second nerve. NM, as M indicates, is muscle, especially the skeletal muscle. So all the neuromuscular junctions, that means the junction between postganglionic nerve or in the somatic nervous system and the muscle cell, okay, all those receptors are NM type, nicotinic, okay, M type, okay. So they are also ligand gated ion channels, okay, same like NN. The mechanism will be same. They cause depolarization, thereby lead to increase in the action potential and activation of the. Okay, if we know what it is, again just reminder, uninnervated nerve, uninnervated receptor. Some receptors have been found to respond to neurotransmitter in the ANS, but have no direct nerve connection. Okay, those receptors are called uninnervated. Innervation means nerve supply. Okay?
Connection.
Yeah, connection. When I say uninnervated means no direct connection, but they have the receptors. That means if I say acetylcholine has uninnervated receptor, that means when acetylcholine comes from postganglionic nerve, it is not directly binding on the organ.
Not specific.
It is going to the blood. From the blood, maybe it is coming. Like you adrenaline. Many receptors are uninnervated. They are not directly connected.
If it is innervated, it goes to the receptor directly.
Directly, it is released near that receptor and act on that.
Like alpha 2, I think.
Yeah, like
and,
alpha
blood,
1, alpha.
blood aggregation. It's happened in blood, not direct to the.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So if that particular neurotransmitter goes via blood, then it is uninnervated. For example, muscarinic receptors are found in endothelium cells of the inner lining of the blood vessels. They contain the muscarinic receptors, but these endothelial cells are not directly connected. Okay, but they have these receptors. So if any acetylcholine reaches there via blood, it will activate. Okay, it is not necessary that if any cell has a receptor, it not necessarily that it should be directly connected. Okay, some presynaptic receptors and some adrenoreceptors on some sweat glands. Okay, they are not directly connected, but those receptors are activated by acetylcholine. So this, if you want, yeah, this is a typical nerve ending. Okay, okay, means these are the steps. So what we see is the nerve ending, end of either first nerve, preganglionic nerve or postganglionic nerve. Arrangement is the same. Once there is a stimulation, suppose just imagine this is a somatic nervous system, somatic nerve. If I just think I want to flex my muscle, okay, that is the stimulation. If there is a stimulation, voluntary stimulation, then it will lead to release of acetylcholine. Okay. If it is an autonomic nervous system, if there is a nerve impulse, nerve conduction from the medulla oblongata, from the brain or from the sensory nerves, okay, it will lead to stimulation of this nerve. Okay, that is called neurohumoral transmission. Okay, when there is an activation of this nerve end, all these steps takes place. What is that? First step, wherever there is a stimulation of the nerve ending, it leads to, we are talking about the cholinergic nervous system. it leads to synthesis of acetylcholine. It will activate the transport of choline from outside to inside. Once that happens, then it will be combined with the choline, acetyl, so it makes acetylcholine. Then acetylcholine is stored in the vesicles so as to protect it from the cytoplasm of the nerve. Okay? Many of the times, the various enzymes, fluid present here, they will cause destruction of acetylcholine. So in order to protect it, it is sent into the vesicle, bag, shield. Then it will brought to near the nerve ending and the bag is opened. That's called exocytosis. Okay? So then it is released into the synapse or just junction between the target and the nerve ending. So this target may be ganglia. If it is very good. If it is a preganglionic nerve, it is any cell, heart cell. If it is a postganglionic nerve, okay. The mechanism is same. It needs the release neurotransmitter needs the receptor on the target cell. Either it is ganglia or any receptor. Okay. Then they will activate by binding to it. When we talk about the acetylcholine, it has specific antagonist for release like botulinum toxin.
For releasing this one.
Yeah, this botulinum toxin, okay, it will block the exocytosis. That's why I told you many times, many arrow poisons, like botulinum toxin is one of them. So if you want to, suppose if tiger is there, if you want to immobilize a tiger, you inject the botulinum toxin. So that's why Red Indians in Amazon and others, they use arrow poison, like botulinum toxin and some other toxins. So if you just throw at the animal, okay, immediately it will go into the blood. It will paralyze the whole muscles because there is no acetylcholine released in the neuromuscular junction.
So immediately.
Yeah, because when you inject, if it goes to blood,
he cannot move.
yeah, because muscles will not contract.
Yes.
So that's why if anybody is working with this botulinum toxin, it will lead to paralysis. Carefully we use. Also, there is a spider-specific venom. So most of the poisonous mechanism is that one. Okay, then it will bind to its receptor. If it is a presynaptic receptor, autoregulatory. Then it is degraded by its enzyme, acetylcholinesterase. Okay, it will break into choline and acetate. Again, it is recycled.
Acetyltransferase for.
Yeah, acetyltransferase.
Transferase for making both choline and acetyl.
No. Yeah, sorry.
Transferase.
Acetylcholinesterase. Cholinesterase. Okay. So esterase is specific for ester group. Ester group is nothing but acetyl group. It will break it. Again, it is recycled, and this process continues.
Doctor,
Yes.
there you said pre-synaptic and post-synaptic. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You said when pre-synaptic and become ganglion like that.
Yeah. So just a minute. I will just show the diagram. I think.
You can draw it.
How? Here?
Close this.
Minimize.
Minimize.
Where?
Clipboard.
This one.
This one?
No.
This. Oh, okay. Can we use this?
Yes, sir.
This one?
لا لا خلاص خلاص.
Here also? Ah. Every time you have to do this?
Choose which.
Anything.
No.
Yeah, see.
عادي
Wait. I can show you.
What should I do? Drag this? Ah, okay, good. Where is eraser?
Yeah,
This one
yeah,
is-
yeah, this one.
فريزة.
Choose now.
Choose,
Any
no?
film. Yes, any film.
See,
Ganglia post.
X.
don't laugh at the diagrams, okay?
52nd degree.
Anything,
Yeah. Kidney هذه liver.
kidney, liver, whatever you want to consider, just imagine that is the target.
Ganglia.
See, this is here you have vertebral column.
Minimize.
Where is
Like
zoom?
that, right? Yes, sir.
تلم بس.
Nawaf is Astel Colin there.
Wait.
التكنيشن جاب
Our technician.
صغر الزوم صغر من فوق.
أفا.
شوفوا فوق عند راسك فوق راسك على طول.
فوق يسار فوق.
There is a view, wait.
لا خلاص.
خلاص؟
في الزوم قدامك.
فوق ذا.
إيه.
اضغط عليه اضغط عليه
افتح سلايد جديد. افتح
اضغط على
سلايد
الشاشة
جديد.
Bas, okay. I will not touch. Okay, leave it.
خاف.
That's
بس.
Yeah.
قفل ذيك.
بردانة صبور.
Don't get confused, okay? This is vertebral column. See,
ماشي.
there are two places in vertebral column. One is called thoracolumbar area. Another is called craniosacral.
واحد sympathetic واحد parasympathetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whole area, sympathetic nerve endings comes, and these two areas, parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
Okay? We'll just imagine any one area. So the nerve which is directly coming from the spinal cord is the preganglionic nerve.
Yes.
Okay? So in between it has a stop. That stop is called ganglia. Okay? So this ganglia contains NN receptors. Nicotinic NN receptors. Okay? So the second nerve which comes here is the postganglionic nerve. Here you may have a effector or target organs. Suppose if this is a somatic nervous system, it will directly come from the brain and it will directly go to the skeletal muscle.
Yes.
In between you don't have this stop ganglia. You don't have the ganglia. Okay? Suppose if there is a stimulation of this preganglionic nerve, okay? This is where you have acetylcholine synthesis. Now we are seeing in the PowerPoint acetylcholine synthesis. If there is a stimulation, neuromuscular transmission or neurohumoral transmission, it will lead to activation of acetylcholine synthesis, and acetylcholine is released here. Okay? And this has receptors, as I told you. Okay? In this case, it is NN receptors. Okay? See, acetylcholine released, it will bind on these receptors. Okay? Some will be metabolized. Okay? And it is recycled back. Okay? If it is a postganglionic nerve, if this is activated, okay, it will goes to the stimulation here. Okay? And here again same process repeats. Acetylcholine is released and act on here. Maybe this is M1 or M2 or M3.
It is M2. This is the
Ah,
M2 hard. حطه M1.
something it is, not hard.
Okay.
Okay?
New organ.
Something,
New
any organ. Suppose if it is somatic nervous system, directly you have not M, you have NM.
Yes.
Understand? Okay? Again the same process here. Here it is metabolized, again sent back. Okay? Sure, it's very good too.
Yes.
I never used this. Because of Nawaf I learned this now. MashaAllah, we have very good facility. So once I was telling my neighbor, we have smart board. Okay, you know, he is a doctor in PYP, preparatory year, in Bureda. He is telling, since 2007 I am using in our college. 2007.
2000.
That means since 8 years. I think 2 years or 1 year back we got this. No, you understood this?
Yes, it is.
Private college maybe they.
No, university,
Public?
Gasig University,
Well-
government college. I don't know, preparatory what for they use.
اخذنا دوري صراحه.
ماخذين كلهم مشان لا ما
50
اخذنا
سنه دي اخذنا.
لا ما اخذنا
لا لا لا
ما اخذنا الريسبتور هذول ما اخذنا كلنا
Okay, this is
مايمتك.
finished now. Now we'll briefly see classes of the drugs, an example, okay? Then we'll move on to adrenergic receptor. Okay, shall break or what?
No, continue.
Cholinergic drugs. Now, these are the drugs apart from acetylcholine. Okay? So they will directly stimulate the receptors of acetylcholine or indirectly they will inhibit the metabolism of acetylcholine by inhibiting acetylcholinesterase. Okay? For example, direct acting drugs. Cholinomimetic means any drug whose actions are similar to acetylcholine or like acetylcholine. Okay?
مثلا
Cholinesterase, acetylcholine, methacholine, carbachol, bethanechol. Okay? So when we talk about this, when you say less cardiovascular activity means
Better.
affinity for M2 receptors may be less, like this.
Not the effect.
Pardon?
Activity.
Yeah, less cardiovascular activity. Natural alkaloids, what are the drugs? Muscarine, because this is the first drug which help to discover the muscarinic receptors, like pilocarpine
for nicotine.
and aricoline. Okay? These are all directly acting drugs. Indirectly acting, so as I said, they will either inhibit the acetylcholinesterase enzyme to increase the acetylcholine concentration. Drugs, in this terms there are two possibilities, reversible and irreversible. Reversible means they have a covalent bonding with the enzyme. So after some time, or if the concentration of enzyme is more, they will leave the enzyme. That means they will come back to normal position. Physostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine and rivastigmine. Okay? So they have different duration of action. Depending on the need, they are used. So chemically, some are tertiary, some are primary. Why they are mentioning? If I say tertiary or quaternary,
Strong.
it determines their penetrability into the brain.
Strong.
Yeah.
Lipid soluble, more lipid soluble.
Yeah, like this. Irreversible, diisopropyl fluorophosphate, isofluorophate, ecothiophate, and malathion. Okay, most of the times they are insecticide poisons.
Organophosphate.
Yeah, all organophosphates.
دكتور
Yeah,
quaternary will penetrate the brain or not?
which one? Nicotinamide?
Quaternary. 4.
Quaternary. Yeah. See, tertiary means 3 amine to 1 nitrogen. Quaternary means 4.
Yes.
As you increase the number of amine, structure size increases. When you increase the structure size, penetration decreases.
Atropine is a tertiary, but it can penetrate the.
Is it tertiary?
Yeah.
Tertiary, yes.
Tertiary, man. Atropine.
Tertiary. Atropine, tertiary.
Yeah.
We'll see it. I don't remember structure. I don't remember. We'll see.
Just wait.
هو الوحيد اللي اخذناه قبل.
Okay. Antagonist. Atropine is the prototype non-selective muscarinic blocker. It's found in the atropobelladonna. Hyoscine. It's a derivative similar to atropine. Okay. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. Yeah, doctor. Yeah, I'm a lecturer, doctor. Yeah, anything urgency, doctor? Yeah.
Natural.
Goodness.
Shall we break for 10 minutes?
Okay. Until 9?
9.
Okay. 15 minutes.
So inspired by that, he followed them. Guru Nanak, he visited Makkah 5 years ago. He visited all Muslim places, Palestine and everything. And he was Hindu. So he mixed Hindu culture and Muslim culture. Understand? So that becomes new religion. Okay, and that 500 years ago in India was ruled by Muslim kings. So these Muslim kings, they treated them as kafirs.
Oh,
Means, see, you cannot mix Islam with something else,
yes.
right? So he started punishing them, Aurangzeb. Okay, so then they started fighting against Muslims. From that the Sikhs came. So Sikhs, their number one enemy is Muslim. Understand?
And there are a lot of them in India.
Lot of religions. In every province you have a different type of religion. But broadly they all come from Hindus. Okay? Like Muslims, lot of Muslims, they are converted from Hindus, maybe. See? You can't say. Many, so in our city, we have a person from Arabia,
Which is
Iraq. Shah Alam means that is his name. He came 600 years ago to our city.
what's your city?
Hmm?
What's your city?
We are south of India, so we have near Bangalore. So he came from Persia through sea. You know, there are many. You see mausoleums, tombs.
Paris.
They come from Persia. They come from Iraq. My wife's family, they come from Iraq.
Nice.
Their great grandfather, he was from directly Iraq. That time, 100 or 150 years ago, to spread Islam. You see in India, everywhere you will see one or the other person come from Islamic countries like that time. Directly Sahabas, no, Kerala. Directly during Sahabas period, there many tombs are there. I don't remember exactly. They directly come to Kerala.
Kerala.
Because with the coastal areas, no. Coastal area, earlier it is very easy. Suppose somebody is he left from Medina. So what he will go from Arabian Sea, whichever country is near, they will go, right?
Yes.
So whichever there, means Allah wherever sends, like they went to Indonesia, they went to Sri Lanka, they went to Maldives, they went to India, lot of people. So that's why, you know, we have 40% Muslims in India. 20% they went to Pakistan and 20% in India. It means how many? 400 million
عطنا
Muslims.
واحدة حمد.
Great task. no?
عطنا واحدة ما شاء الله.
Okay. Now we are talking about cholinergic receptors, antagonist, atropine. Okay, it's a major anticholinergic drug. Okay, so when we see anticholinergic drugs, there are two possibilities. One is cholinergic antagonist, another is nicotinic antagonist. So cholinergic antagonist, those drugs which muscarinic antagonist and nicotinic antagonist. Muscarinic antagonist are those which will block muscarinic receptors. Nicotinic antagonist like tuberculosis, they will only block nicotinic antagonist. The one problem, common problem with nicotinic antagonist is when we use nicotinic antagonist,
Non-selective.
yeah, they will also block all the autonomic ganglia because that is also nicotinic receptor. They will block all the nicotinic receptors in the muscle if it is a non-selective. So that's why those drugs are specifically very popular, ganglionic blockers. They were used in controlling blood pressure, uncontrolled blood pressure. But the problem, they will block autonomic ganglia, both sympathetic and parasympathetic. So it will affect the release of noradrenaline as well as acetylcholine. So they will have multiple adverse effects. Okay, this is all about cholinergic drugs, cholinergic receptors. Now we'll see adrenergic receptors. Similarly, similar to cholinergic receptors, adrenergic receptors are those which are activated by noradrenaline or adrenaline.
Catecholamines.
Okay, they were together called catecholamines.
Catecholamines.
Catechol means nucleus,
Phenol ring with
Benzene.
yeah, benzene ring or phenol ring with adjacent hydroxyl group.
yeah.
That is catechol. Okay, why they are called catechol? Because those drugs have similar structure, catechol nucleus plus amine functional group. Okay, there are some other drugs where hydroxyl group is not adjacent, alpha beta. They may be one carbon apart. That's called 1,3 dihydroxy. They are not 1,2 dihydroxy. Those are called non-catecholamine. Anyway, we'll not go in detail. Okay, so some drugs, some receptors, alpha 1 and alpha 2, beta receptors, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. Okay, adrenergic receptors belong to most of them G protein coupled receptors. Not like cholinergic receptor. Some are G protein, some are ligand gated ion channels. Okay, what are the common drugs which will activate these? Adrenaline, noradrenaline, isoprenaline, dopamine. Okay, dopamine,
Dobutamine. Also.
dobutamine.
Dobutamine.
Yeah, dopamine. It is additionally, it is structure similar to them, and this is a precursor molecule for noradrenaline. If you see the diagram, before formation of noradrenaline, there is a precursor dopamine. Okay, but as such, dopamine is not able to bind to alpha beta receptors, but can bind only its own receptor. Those are dopamine receptors. You'll see it later. Okay, same, there are subclasses. Alpha 1 has again alpha A, B, and D. Alpha 2 has A, B, C. Similarly, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. Okay, no, beta 4 also. You see the brief location. Alpha 1 are present in most of the postsynaptic cells. That means we know preganglionic, after preganglionic only nicotinic is possible in the ganglia. So in the second postganglionic nerves, most of the effector cells, which is alpha 1. Alpha 2, they are very specific in certain areas of brain, like clonidine, it will stimulate alpha 2 receptors in the brain. But in most of the time, their location is presynaptic nerve endings. Okay, beta 1, beta 2, most of the postsynaptic cells. Beta 1 specifically in heart, beta 2 in lungs, some arterioles, and some major organs, visceral organs. Okay, and coming to their specificity for the receptors, epinephrine has affinity to most of them receptor. Because of that, what you have just one methyl group. When you have norepinephrine, so it has more prominent action on alpha 1, alpha 2, and beta 1. Okay, beta 2 does not show any prominent action, but otherwise potency wise it is similar to adrenaline. Ephedrine, it is also similar to epinephrine. Phenylephrine, it is more prominent one, alpha 1, so it comes under alpha agonist. Isoproterenol, its potency is like beta. Dobutamine, beta 1. Terbutaline, specifically beta 2. Okay, so when they describe their specificity, okay, that means they can bind equally. But if you give them opportunity, both, they will be more effective on one receptor. Suppose if you give epinephrine, alpha and beta, so it more prominently it prefers alpha. In norepinephrine, it will prefer more prominently beta, like this. We'll see it again. There is an order of potency. We'll see. Okay. Okay. So again, the same presynaptic, postsynaptic nerve endings. Okay. Most of the time, it is postsynaptic nerve endings only. Okay.
Yes.
Because presynaptic nerves, there is no
acetylcholine.
Yeah, acetylcholine. Okay. Same process when there is a neurohumoral transmission, activation of post nerve ending. Okay. You will see combination of tyrosine. Okay. Hydroxylation of tyrosine with the hydroxylase enzyme, okay, which forms dihydroxyphenylalanine, DOPA. Okay, dihydroxyphenylalanine. Then uptake of dopamine by decarboxylation, then storage into vesicles as dopamine. Okay, so that's why dopamine is called as precursor molecule. Precursor molecule for noradrenaline. Okay, the noradrenaline, when there is an activation for exocytosis, calcium entry, okay, whenever there is a calcium entry, so this will release its neurotransmitter in the synapse. That release neurotransmitter act on the postsynaptic receptors, alpha 1, alpha 2, or beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, whatever it may be, depending on the type of the cell.
Doctor,
Okay, yeah.
the dopamine neurotransmitter, how it is synthesized?
Same, like tyrosine, these enzymes. Like if you say dopaminergic nerves are very specific in the brain. Okay, now here it is acting as a precursor. It has no role on its. Dopamine does not show its action because it is converted to noradrenaline in the synaptic vesicle. Understand? So due to beta hydroxylase enzyme, dopamine is converted to noradrenaline inside vesicle.
VAT. 12.
Understand? Because if it is converted to outside, okay, it has a MAO enzyme. Yeah, MAO. Okay? This MAO enzyme will immediately metabolize noradrenaline. Followed? Noradrenaline, norepinephrine, same, right? It will metabolize to inactive metabolites. So that's why for protection, dopamine is transferred into the vesicle. Inside the vesicle, it is transferred to noradrenaline.
Noradrenaline can activate the dopaminergic receptor. Noradrenaline. Why it is converted to noradrenaline? I mean the receptor, the dopaminergic receptor, how it is activated by dopamine.
So here there is no dopamine receptor.
I mean for the dopamine, it is like the mechanism here.
You see, instead of alpha beta, dopamine receptor can act on the dopamine receptor.
Without converting to noradrenaline.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
without converting. See, this is a noradrenergic nerve. Here dopamine is not synthesized. It is only an intermediate. Once the dopamine is formed, it is converted to noradrenaline. Suppose, if you think about dopaminergic nerves are present in the brain. There, from these material, dopamine is synthesized and stored. It is not converted to noradrenaline. Okay? Then the released dopamine will act on the dopamine receptors. If here dopamine receptors are present, dopamine will not be able to come, because in the vesicle it is converted to noradrenaline. Okay? So the released norepinephrine act on the receptors or presynaptic receptors are metabolized by the enzymes. Two categories of enzyme. One which is present in the synapse, COMT, and inside MAO enzyme or monoamine oxidase enzyme. This is called MAO enzyme. Okay? And
Where?
it is
Where it's mentioned?
yeah, this is
It's not mentioned.
yeah, this is MAO enzyme, monoamine oxidase. Okay? This enzyme, okay, will see, this will metabolize, see, norepinephrine to inactive metabolites. In the synapse, it will metabolize by catechol-O methyl transferase. Like for choline, we have acetylcholinesterase, right? Acetylcholine, we have acetylcholinesterase. COMT is for norepinephrine. Okay? So sympathetic drugs, okay? Drugs that stimulate sympathetic nervous system are called, okay, sympathomimetics or adrenal receptor agonist or sympathetic receptor agonist, whatever it may be. Classes into catecholamines, non-catecholamines, okay? Alpha and beta adrenal receptor agonist, okay? They are classified into three groups depending on their mechanism of action: direct acting, indirect acting, and some have both the mechanisms, dual acting. Okay? Direct acting, they will directly stimulate the receptors. Okay? Like noradrenaline, adrenaline, phenylephrine, like this. Indirect acting, they will either inhibit the metabolism of adrenaline, noradrenaline. Dual acting, depending on the situation, this ephedrine, either it will directly bind to the receptors or it will increase the synthesis of noradrenaline. That is the specialty of ephedrine.
Where doctor?
Pardon?
The difference?
So dual mechanisms.
Direct
Direct means it will directly go bind to the receptor and stimulate. Indirect, indirect acting,
Increase the
direct-
synthesis of noradrenaline.
noradrenaline, okay, or prevent the metabolism of
Noradrenaline.
noradrenaline. Dual means they may have both the properties, direct acting or preventing its metabolism.
Ephedrine is subdivided from norepinephrine. Ephedrine from norepinephrine.
No. Ephedrine is a natural drug obtained from ephedra plant. It is outside. It is not in the body. Ephedrine,
Similar to norepinephrine.
name is similar, but it is ephedrine.
Ephedrine.
This is also again because it's derived from ephedra. Again, it's amine, ephedrine, something this nomenclature. Okay. So receptor classification, alpha-1 agonist. They are useful in treatment of nasal decongestion and low blood pressure.
Methoxamine also.
Yeah. Which one?
Phenylephrine, methoxamine, I think.
Yeah, there are many, whatever the alpha agonist, okay? So nasal decongestion, most of the times it happens due to vasodilation in the nasal mucus. If there is a vasodilation, okay, we can use alpha agonist. They will cause vasoconstriction because you know alpha 1 receptors most of the time they are present in the blood vessel. Okay, when the blood vessels they contract, that can also used to increase the blood pressure. Okay, alpha 2 agonist. Now we see, yeah. Please just change here. It's by mistake. It is hypertensive. Make it hypotensive.
Less.
It is high. It is written high.
Yeah,
Hyper.
yeah. Hypotension.
No, it was hypertensive. In your slides, it is hyper. Change to hypo.
Hypo.
So this is correct, hypo.
Hypo is correct.
It is high, bro.
Yeah, hypo.
Yeah.
Earlier it was hyper. I think I did not change it correctly. Hypo. Okay. That means alpha 2 agonist. They are used to treat increased blood pressure. Okay, because it is a presynaptic nerve ending.
Why say high?
Sub high, bro.
You know, see, what is the mechanism? Alpha 2 agonist.
It's inhibition that norepinephrine
Yes.
from releasing.
So it will reduce the blood pressure.
High, bro. لكن هو عدى.
Understand?
لا،
Pardon?
لا أرزق.
No. What is the location of alpha 2 receptor? See,
بس هذا.
Nerve ending.
this is the alpha 2.
Postsynaptic.
Alpha 2. If you activate this, okay, what you will get? Less release of norepinephrine. So instead of increasing blood pressure, you tend to reduce the blood pressure.
Negative feedback.
عكسه هي تشتغل تثبط نفسها إذا حفزت تثبط نفسها.
Okay? Similar, that's clonidine is very popularly used. And some migraine attacks, not all. The sumatriptan, triptan class of the drugs, they are first choice of the drugs for migraine. Okay? So some of the migraine types are due to excessive vasoconstriction. Such can be treated by this one. Okay? Beta adrenergic agonist. Okay? Beta 1, they are rarely used. It's only in case of specific cardiogenic shock, they can be useful. Dobutamine. Beta 2 agonist, they are very popular in asthma treatment. Okay? Salbutamol, terbutaline, salmeterol, like that. Like blockers, non-selective, they can block both alpha 1 and alpha 2. Okay? Selective, yeah, alpha 1 blockers, they are very popular class of the drugs for treatment of hypertension. Okay? They have performed, yeah, you have to change here. I saw it yesterday. It is vasoconstrictor effect. It is dilator effect. Make it opposite. In the slides I gave you. Okay? Don't forget. Alpha 1 blockers. Because they will reduce blood pressure. Okay? Doxycycline, phentolamine.
It's right, this one.
This is right. Vasodilator. Okay? Beta blockers. Okay? Beta selective. They are also very popular. Alpha 1 and beta 1. Okay? In the treatment of blood pressure. And also a class of antiarrhythmic drugs. In cardiovascular, they have very important role. Okay, most of the regimen for antihypertensive or blood pressure therapy, they consist of this. Okay, non-selective propranolol, labetalol, sotalol. It is used in those patients. If you block beta 2 in lungs, it does not create any problem. Only in such patients. If it is contraindicated patients, you have to go to selective one. Okay.
Don't separate it. ACI, I think there is some subdivision. ACI, intrinsic activity.
Yeah, yeah.
Beta.
Yeah. So those some blockers they have intrinsic sympathomimetic activity.
Sympathomimetic.
Some they don't have intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. Intrinsic sympathomimetic activity means if you give another antagonist along with them, it will show agonist activity. Understand? Okay, this is all about adrenaline receptor. Then we will go to serotonin. Serotonin, as the name itself indicates, this is a drug which was found in the serum. Okay, that's why the name serum protein or serum chemical, serotonin. Okay, when the blood clots, one chemical was isolated in the initial stages. That's why it is named something obtained from the serum, serotonin. Okay? It was chemically 5-hydroxytryptamine. Okay? Tryptamine, 5-hydroxytryptamine. Originally, when it received serum, originally it was part of platelets. It was subsequently found in the GIT, CNS, and many other organs, and was acting as a neurotransmitter and a local homeostatic hormone. Okay? In the peripheral vascular system. It is widely distributed in enterochromaffin cells. Okay? Enterochromaffin cells.
The GIT.
Pardon?
Stomach.
Where this?
Enterochromaffin
Stomach.
cells.
Kidney.
No, no.
No. It is entero means something related with GIT.
GIT, yes.
Okay? Surrounding duodenum, in gastric cells, in fundus, there is a specialized type of cells. Those are called enterochromaffin cells. So these cells are responsible for giving serotonin. These are a group of nerves, okay, which contains maximum concentration of serotonin in the body. Around 90% of the serotonin, earlier it was thought the chemical obtained from the serum, that was found to be from platelets, but later it was found maximum amount is in enterochromaffin cells. Okay, then followed by enteric nervous system or ENS. There is a group of neurons, okay, which is operating or connecting to GIT. That is called enteric nervous system or enteric neurons. The major neurotransmitter in this is, apart from acetylcholine, is serotonin. Okay, and some portion is also present in platelets, and some serotonergic nerves, we'll see it later in depression, also present in the brain, especially the midbrain, which has had an important role in control of depression and other behavior. Okay, it is also an important neurotransmitter in both the periphery and the CNS because of this. Foods. The foods which are rich in serotonin, okay, they increase the production of serotonin, which can improve your turkey, eggs, beans, and fatty fish, different fatty fish, and some food, fruits, bananas. Okay, it has been found any fruit or any food which is rich in 5-hydroxytryptamine, it gives a stimulatory effect, antidepressant effect. Okay, many chocolates, they contain serotonin. So okay, any food contains serotonin leads to
Happiness.
yeah, happiness. So that's why in Brazilian there was a study which was found, they were most of the time they were very happy like this. So afterward found the particular food which is more common in that area is rich in serotonin. Okay?
Where?
Brazilian, some Brazilian place.
Have a lot of morphine there.
Morphine plus serotonin was the secret. But now yesterday just I saw in the newspaper, there were amphetamine, 4.6 million amphetamine tablets.
It's come to Saudi.
Here.
Yeah.
My goodness. Tabu?
I think
It's border to southern country?
yes.
Which country?
Maybe Iraq or
Jordan.
From hand.
For study, doctor, for study. For experiment.
For doing
Are you
research.
part of that?
No, it,
How come you know?
by news.
Oh. Okay, so it is synthesized from tryptophan, it's an amino acid. So tryptophan hydroxylase is enzyme. Okay, again 5-hydroxytryptophan hydroxyl decarboxylase. Finally, you have serotonin. Serotonin, 5-HT, both are same. Okay. Mechanisms will not go in details. We already know. There are various types of serotonin receptors. Up to 7 classes of receptors. Up to 5 are very well characterized. Okay, well identified. But still, mechanism is uncertain. Some of the receptors. It has been found 5-HT1, there are subtypes A, B, D, E, F, so many things. Most of the time, they are G protein is either I or O. Okay? What do you mean by I and O? You know all the mechanisms. Okay? So it will inhibit adenyl cyclase or something that you should know. Okay?
I and O stand for what?
Oh, olfactory.
No.
Oh, olfactory.
Yeah. olfactory,
Olfactory.
orphan.
Orphan.
Okay. So I means inhibitory.
Yes.
Some of the subtypes are linked to GI protein, or some of the linked are to GO protein. The end result is they cause decrease in CAMP. Okay. Similarly, two A, B, C subtypes, they are linked with GQ. There is another protein G11. It's not well characterized,
New, this.
but
New.
yeah, it's there. Some it's not well characterized, but GQ is well characterized. That's right. So their mechanism, increase in IP3 and DAG. 5HT3 among all. 5HT3 is not the G protein coupled receptor. Okay, well characterized. It is a
ligand
ion, ligand gated ion
Ligand
channel.
gate. صح.
Okay, and the ion is positive, sodium. That's why it mentioned ligand is cation. It means here it is a depolarization. Okay. 4, a 5HT4 linked to GS. 5HT5AB not unknown, but sometimes it is GQ. Okay. GS again GS 6 GS 7 is GS. Okay. So this is all about, if you ask, is full mechanism. Okay. So how it is linked to secondary messengers, secondary enzymes. Okay, in the same general classes of receptors we can write here also. Okay. Now see what are the effects of 5HT action. If 5HT is, we know these are all the areas from where the 5HT comes. Okay. Enterochromaffin, platelets, CNS, some GIT, enteric nervous system, cardiovascular system, and some of the nociceptive nerves, means pain sensory nerves. Okay, it has action on these 5 types. Okay, so
Aggression.
not described. Let me tell. So enterochromaffin, if the 5HT is released from here, it will cause increase in the peristaltic movement of GIT. Platelets, it increases clotting. In CNS, it reduces depression, anxiety, like this. Okay. In GIT, again, smooth muscles, all the smooth muscles, it will cause increase in peristaltic mode. Cardiovascular, it increases cardiovascular function. Nociceptive, it increases the pain response. That means if 5HT present in the nerve endings, it increases its sensitivity. The person feels increase in pain sensation. Okay, so drugs that affect 5HT systems are used to treat depression, anxiety, migraine, and emesis, because we have seen in the GIT muscles they increase the peristaltic movement, which helps to reduce emesis, vomiting. Okay. So antidepressants, what are the drugs? Fluoxetine. Okay, these are all the drugs which increases the serotonin concentration. They will increase serotonin concentration. For example, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. For example, in some nerve endings, okay, the neurotransmitter is taken back into the nerve ending.
They inhibit.
They inhibit that. Then more neurotransmitter present in the synapse. Okay, anti-anxiety. So these are the partial agonists we have seen. Okay, it is connected to GI. It will reduces the activity, thereby can reduce anxiety. Okay. Then anti-migraine. Some of the drugs. Okay. Somatriptan, zolmitriptan. They are involved in. I told vasoconstriction is involved in certain migraines. So these are very specific, which are present in trigeminal nerves. Trigeminal nerves, which are responsible for migraine. So these agonists go there, inhibit the activity. Okay, they improve the GI, they increase they stimulate the GI, thereby activity is reduced. It leads to vasodilation. Similarly, 5HT antagonist, antiemetics, specific 5HT3 antagonist, they help to reduce the emesis. Okay, coming to the histamine receptors. You know what you mean by histamine? We'll continue in the next lecture. Okay, some few slides. Okay. Anything? Any doubts?
Just the two changing in the two words that you change in the slide. Vasodilation, vasodilation and hypertension.
Yeah.
High potential vasodilation.
Yeah. One was hypo,
Tension.
make it